Welcome. Hi. My name is Ayomide, a lover of all things fashion. If this is your first time here, I want to say a very big welcome to you. On this channel, I post DIY sewing tutorials, and in this tutorial, I'm going to be sharing how I draft my basic skirts block. I am also going to be sharing how to achieve a bum illusion at the back of your skirt and how to get rid of that bulge that appears whenever you fix your zip at the back of your skirt. All of this is packed in this tutorial. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please click on the subscription button below. It is your only little way of appreciating the work that I do here. So please click on my channel, click on the subscription button below. Now let us jump straight to the tutorial. First thing I'm going to do is to mark half inch at the topmost part of my pattern paper. I love to start my basic skirts this way, so I'm going in to mark half inch at the topmost part, and that part will serve as my waistline. That is where I'm going to be taking all of my measurements from. So from that line drawn, I'm going to be marking my waist to hip measurement, which is 8 inches. Then I'm going to be connecting with my pattern master. Thereafter, I'm going to mark my length, the length of the skirt, which is 18 inches. Irrespective of the length of your skirt that you're working with, if it is a long skirt of 25 inches, 30 inches, this is the same procedure for a basic skirt. So for this tutorial, I am using 18 inches and I have gone ahead to mark 18 inches. On my waistline over there, I'm going to be placing a quarter of my waist measurement plus 1 inch dart allowance, giving me a total of 7.25. And on my hip line over there, that is my hip line, I'm going to be placing a quarter of my hip measurement with no allowance, that is 8.75. And using this curved part of my pattern master, I am going to be creating my hip curve. I love the versatility of this pattern master. Then on my hem line, I'm going to be measuring what I have on my waistline, which is pretty much a quarter of my hip measurement rather, and I will be deducting 1 inch from there, and then I'll connect. You can take out 2 inches, but bear in mind that the more you take out, the less the freedom to work, except your fabric is stretchy that would allow you to work freely. So to draw in my dart on my waistline, I would get the midpoint of my waistline and then mark half inch on both sides since my dart measurement is 1 inch. Come up by 2.5 inches on my hip line and then connect the points together. In order to reduce the bulge that usually appear in the front of a skirt, I am going to show us a simple trick. All you have to do is to mark half inch downwards from your waistline. So I'm going over there to mark half inch downwards from my waistline, and I'll be connecting from the apex of my waist measurement to that half inch that I have already marked. So this technique actually eliminates that bulge that appears in the front of a skirt. You can use this for a plus size person, you can use this for a slim person. It works all the time. So guys, this is all for a basic skirt block. The basic skirt block is actually very easy to draft. It was my first project in fashion school, and I think I made my first skirts within the first 3-4 days of fashion school. That was the very first project that I worked on. So moving on to the back pattern now. Just like I did for the front pattern of the skirt, I'm going to be marking half inch away from the topmost part of my pattern paper, and thereafter I am going to be marking my zipper allowance of 1 inch. I repeated the same procedure for a basic bodice block. Always remember to include your zipper allowance at the back of your dress. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to be marking the length of my skirt, which is 18 inches. So I'm going in to mark 18 inches for the length of my skirt, and afterwards I am going to be connecting those points together with my pattern master. Thereafter, I am going to mark my waist to hip measurement, which is 8 inches, and I am taking this measurement from my waistline, that line that I marked initially. That is my waistline. On my waistline, I am going to be placing a quarter of my waist measurement plus 1 inch dart allowance, and on my hip line I am also placing a quarter of my hip measurement with no allowance, and I am placing this measurement just after my zipper allowance, because if you are using this pattern to cut, you are going to be sewing in your zipper allowance, so you would want your measurements to be accurate and complete. Thereafter, I am going to measure my hip measurement, which is pretty much 8.75, deduct 1 inch from there and mark 7.75 over there, just like I did for the front, and then connect together. This process is actually called pegging. This is an act of pegging your skirt to make it penciled. Then, to draw in my dart, I am going to mark the midpoint of my waistline, and then I am going to be marking ½ inch on both sides. Thereafter, I am going to come up by 2 inches from my waistline. Then I am going to be connecting the dart point together with my pattern master. To get rid of any excess fabric that usually appears whenever you fix a zip at the back of the skirt, all you have to do is to mark ½ inch away from the waistline, and I am taking this measurement right for my zipper allowance. Then I am going to be extending my waistline measurement to meet up with my zipper allowance, and I'm going to be connecting from that point all the way to the ½ inch that I marked away. So I am using my pattern master to connect the points together. Thereafter, I am also going to be marking ½ inch away from my hem line, and I am also going to be connecting the points to my hip line. This procedure is called a bum illusion or a butt illusion. It just creates a sort of illusion for the back, because our backs are not straight. Even though you don't have a big bum, your back is still not straight. So that part that I am shading, I am going to be taking it off entirely. At my waistline also, just like I did for the front, I am also going to be marking ½ inch that I took away from the back, and I am going to be reconnecting my waistline back. I am doing this so that I will not be short of measurements. Also, on my hem line, I will be returning that ½ inch I took away, sort of like I borrowed the ½ inch, so I'm returning it back so that my measurements can match up. Then, just like I did for the front, I would mark ½ inch downwards from my waistline. I'm taking that measurement from my zipper allowance. I'll mark ½ inch downwards and then connect from my new waistline to meet up with that ½ inch that I have already marked. The part that I am shading, I am going to be taking it off entirely, and all of these techniques allows you to have a very well fitted skirt at your waist and also at the back. And I am just going in to mark in my zipper allowance, and I am indicating that this is the back pattern for a basic skirt, just in case I want to use this pattern later on in the future. So guys, this is all. This is my patterns after I have cut it out. This is all for a basic skirt block. I love the way the back came out nicely. I love the way the bum illusion came out well. If you have learned a lot from this video, please like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please click on the subscription button below, and until my next video, have a great day. Welcome. If you're new here, you're welcome. My name is Ayomide. A lover of all